had my eyes closed the whole time. I sang 2 songs, and then I just ran out there. I got out as soon as I could.
Take the turnpike, save some time. Rest up when I can. Working nights to make a dime. Find out who I am. It's been years since I left my home, if it ever was. I was younger, I was told to roam. Boy, you wanna be one of us. I hear songs about the glory.
How long have you been performing? Are you from, let's start with the simple stuff. Are you from South Texas or where are you from originally?
I'm from outside Houston. Yeah.
Okay. And when did you start performing? And I mean, I read some of your EPK and all that stuff, but tell me a little bit about how you got into it.
I started, performing generally when I was pretty young, middle school band and that whole thing. And throughout high school, I was doing that kind of thing. I didn't start singing until I was probably 14. And then I didn't start doing this type of thing, the Americana country thing, until probably 2018 or 2019, I think.
So you haven't been doing it that long,
Not
obviously.
too long, but before that, I was doing, I was in jazz, I was studying voice up at North Texas, and so I had been performing a little bit, but it wasn't until pretty recently, like, I kind of found where I wanted to be and where kind of my songwriting fit. The Kerrville Folk Festival has like a university songwriting competition.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
And they were posting all about it on UT, and my friend said, you should audition for this or, put some songs in. I did and got to play Kerrville back in 2019, I think, before the pandemic. So it's kind of what kicked it off. And that was kind of the goal, too, of coming down to Austin, is I knew I wanted to pursue music in some way. But I figured if I was going to do anything, I should be back in Austin for it.
What was it about Americana, or you kind of, I noticed that people couldn't, people don't like being pigeonholed to a certain degree, but Americana music, because you do,
Yeah.
you have a country, a little bit of country stuff, but more Americana. What was it, what was the people you listened to and it said, oh, I really like those, it kind of was the driving force to you kind of lean that way?
I know that Jason Isbell was a big one if we're talking about, modern people, but I grew up on Willie Nelson and Chris Christopherson and Guy Clark, and I think they all kind of fit. We all think of them as country, but I think technically they fit in Americana as well. And I started listening to in college like Gregory Alan Isakov and Joe Pug and Justin Townes Earl and that kind of group of people, and I think they fit pretty well in Americana as well. But I didn't start writing songs with I didn't say I'm going to be Americana and I'm going to write these songs and fit here. It was kind of just, I was trying to write songs I was trying to write like a jazz standard style lyric for a while, and it just wasn't working out. So I sat down and figured, I'll just write whatever comes out. And
Right.
I was surprised that that's what came out, but because I had never done. Someone actually asked me before I started. They said, would you ever consider doing country music or anything like that? And I said, no, probably not. But when I started writing my own stuff, it's just kind of what happened. I don't think it's super country, but I think
No, it's not. I mean,
it's a
country
little bit.
music is so different now. It's not
Yeah.
even, a lot of people, purists go, I don't even like what it is now. It's more clock to, it's rock. Or I remember somebody saying years ago that they said country music's about 10 years behind rock music. So whatever rock music does, country does follows up in about 10 years. But that's
Yeah.
all changed now.
hmm
And so you got this variety of people, just like we were talking about jazz. It's the same way in country. So you must have taught yourself how to play guitar. Did you work with somebody or did you just teach yourself?
No, I just taught myself. I remember I got a book when I was younger. We had this family guitar that kind of passed its way around, all the
Yeah.
siblings, and
Yeah.
I learned on that when I was really, really little, but then didn't touch it for years, and then yeah, I just learned to C, and I just vamped on a C for like 2 years, and just figured that out, and really focused on kind of the right hand stuff and different rhythms, and then eventually thought I should maybe learn a second chord.
Which is probably either G or D. That's what most people go because D
Yeah,
is
yeah,
easy.
I'm sure it
Yeah.
was G probably.
I still remember trying to play an F. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to put those two strings together.
Yeah.
And now, years later, I laugh at it because I borrow everything and I'm always all over the neck. And it's
Mm.
interesting because I noticed interesting things about performing. You use a cable a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm
And
not
I know why you do. And I would assume that it's easier for you because you don't need to learn all the bar chords or anything like that, but also you just slide up and down the neck and you can still play a C and a D and a G or something, an A, and
Mhm.
still write a song. So which is okay. People in the business call them cheaters,
Oh yeah,
but
I get that a lot from
but
folks. That,
I don't blame you for that. I mean, if that's your comfort level is to do it like that, who cares?
yeah, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, and that's what my skill level's at, and uh, I would like to be better. I'm always aspiring to be better, but I think the style of stuff that I've kind of prone to, that the finger picking style that I do on some stuff it's all kind of the what they call the open positions,
Hmm.
and I do enough. I just do a lot of hammer-ons and stuff, and it's more difficult for me to do that doing bar chords up and down the neck. So I just kind of pick a key and figure out where it sounds right and go from there.
And so when you got to the point where you're starting writing songs, was it a thought of you going like, "Oh, I think these are good enough. Let's go in the studio. I'm going to start playing out more." How did that kind of mature, where you started getting your music out to the public? The
Yeah,
music you wrote.
right, right. So I remember the first song I wrote. I was going through a breakup at the time, and I wrote it, and we were I think just kind of just about to, and I said. I asked somebody like, "Does this sound like a song?" I think it was the first time I wrote. I just wrote like first verse, and I thought this kind of sounds like a song. I asked somebody, and they said, "Yeah, I guess." And I was just I was feeling it for the first time, and so I wrote it, and then wrote another one, and thought, well, now I'm just sitting on these, and I don't like. The whole point was to play for people, so I went looking for open mics, and there's a really great open mic community in Austin.
Oh yeah, you got a lot of places to play in Austin, sure.
Yeah, and everyone that's part of that kind of group of people, all very supportive, and they're like, check out this place and this place. But anyway, I remember I went to this one bar that's closed now in East Austin. They had an open mic every like Tuesday or something, and I went, and the first day I just kind of got a beer and sat down and watched. And the next week I went and did the same thing, and it's like, oh, I don't know. Maybe in the third week I brought my guitar, but still just sat there in the back and left.
Yeah.
Eventually got up enough nerve to put my name on the list and played a couple songs. I had a really kind of weird guitar setup, and like I'd found this really cheap pickup that just kind of goes in the sound hole, and there's a wire coming off of it. And
Yeah.
I remember I just had my eyes closed the whole time. I sang two songs, and then I just ran out of there. I got out as soon as I could. But I did that for maybe 2 years and got
Mm.
more comfortable playing my own songs in front of people, and then started thinking, maybe I could get paid for this. I have 5 an hour, 2 hours of songs that I can play for people.
Mm.
I can gig. So I got like a set together and started putting feelers out, coffee shops, small gigs and stuff like that. And then it was really more of like a booking help, I guess. I figured people needed stuff to hear, so I recorded an EP back like late 2019, right before the pandemic started, and,
Right.
and that was just to say, hey, here's what it sounds like, so you can have this stuff. And um, then I don't know how long I was just doing solo stuff for a while, and in 2023, some folks from Nashville reached out, this production company, and said, if you want to do anything, let us know. And I had planned on putting the full album together that year anyway. So, I linked up with them, and the songs I had, I picked 11 of them and sent them to them, and they said, yeah, sounds good. Let's make an album.
So did they provide the studio musicians to come in?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
knew all the people. And
You went to Nashville?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well that's like, people always go, they always tell me when they've been to other studios outside of Nashville, they always go, this would be 3 days where I normally play, but we were done by noon.
Yeah.
Is that because of the quality of players they have in Nashville?
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. We did 2 days tracking the band and then a day of vocals, and they got the music, they got the lead sheets that day, and played through them and played some stuff I hadn't thought about, and we worked through every one of them. Probably did 2 takes, 3 takes on each one, and yeah, they were fantastic. They made it more comfortable for me because they really knew what they were doing.
Well, and as a songwriter, when you write songs and you perform them out, even with a band, there's something about that first song that you listen to in the studio.
And seeing the music for the first time too. I think if you have if you have people looking at it for the first time, they're going to interpret it differently. Probably every time, and whether they do it on purpose or not, just because they're still getting used to it. But it opens it up for a lot of different creative options.
So what did you do with that album?
That was this album that came out. Put it out in June.
Oh, that's when you just finished. The one that just came out in June. Okay.
Yeah. So that was recorded in January of 2023, and we did like a year of mixing and mastering and going back and forth, and getting music videos put together for it. There was a lot of back and forth, and it took longer than I thought it would. But I'm happy that we took the time for it because there were some things that I listened to. You listen to those songs so many times when you're going through the mixing, and I must listen to those songs 1,000 times each.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then, but it sounds like you control your own destiny. Obviously, you listen to them, which means you're putting input for what you want because it's your deal at the end of the day. But also, I think it's one of those things that when you write, you want to get it out. You want everybody to hear it.
Yeah.
And when you go in January 23, and then it's a year and a half later, you release it, you're like, this is like old stuff to me now. I'm already moved on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, wait a minute, I got to promote this. That's right, because I did this and that. But I think that the other thing, too, is when you do what you did, and I've watched some of your videos when they're professionally done, it just adds something to it.
Mm-hmm.
So how was that received then? How was the album received?
I think it was, kind of all I could ask for and more, probably. It was pretty well received. Very well received by my family. But we put it out to radio, had a radio PR team, and then a kind of publication PR team. And we put it out there, got some good reviews. It's kind of tough figuring out because I started pretty much from nothing. I didn't have a huge following. I still don't have a huge following, but it's very it's like one at a time. Building the fan base. I would say overall though it was pretty well received and got some good write-ups, some good reviews. So I'm really happy about that.
So what are you doing now? I mean, you got an album. Are you working on new music? I mean, I know you're a writer, so you're always writing new stuff. But what's your next plan, so to speak?
So I've got some songs. Probably not ready to go back in the studio. I think I would probably want to get at least a year on this album, which would be June before I start thinking about maybe going to the studio again. So probably back in the studio January 26th maybe.
Okay.
Or late this year. But right now, still trying to tour and push this album. I've got one more single coming off of it. If you listen to that last song on there is like 7.5 minutes long. It's got a bonus track. So we're releasing that bonus track as a single in February of 25. And got my first Green Hall show, so that'll be fun.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. That's cool.
It's always in my head that I want people to feel. I want people to feel the songs. I want them to like when I really connect with a song, it just feels like it goes straight, straight through me, and that's what I aspired to. That and kind of painting a picture, so whenever people are listening, they kind of go off and they follow the imagery and everything of the song. But I appreciate you saying that.
Well, I don't tell people anything just to blow smoke up their dress because I think you need to know it because people in the crowd don't understand necessarily. May not be able to convey what they think.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, if you get to a point where people are actually singing with you your song, that is a moment you'll never forget because people are like singing along. You're like, oh my God, they're actually singing my song.
Yeah.
And that is one of those things. It's like I live on a golf course. I used to play all the time, and I was okay golfer, but I'd have a bad round, and then I used to get real good at the end because I'd go, I'm not playing this anymore. And I barred the hole or birdied the hole, and I'm 18. I go, okay, I'm coming back. So, same way with performing. I mean, when people say, I don't care if it's 1 out of 100 people come up to you and say, hey, I really like your music. That's really all you need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's been. That's always the best. Is after a show. I mean, I'm always in my head. I'm a little wired afterward just because of the energy of the whole thing. But
Sure.
I'm also just in my head thinking like, I know I messed up here, and here, and it probably ruined the show. And then one person, like you said, one person coming up and saying, "Hey, that was great." Like, if it's, saying they've listened to it before or asking for a CD or merch or anything, that like always takes me out of it, and it feels really nice.
Well, then you go, okay, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe I'll go up there. I'll play another set.
okay. All right, I'll come back. Okay. So I want to wrap this up, but where you got the green thing coming
Yeah.
up, and then are you going to start trying to play more in Austin, or what's your kind of plans for the rest of the year after that?
We're just kind of, we're really just bopping around. We're going, so we've got that. We've got Green Hall in February. I'm going to be at the Old Quarter in April, I believe. I'll be at Saxon in April again for the BMI ride around. Trying to go out to Florida and Atlanta and do kind of a down south tour. And I'll be, I'll be in Nashville in March, I believe. I'll be at the
Okay.
Wilson